What's up, Tan and J-Man Show Nation? This is Tanner Lee, one half of the Tan and J-Man Show. And on behalf of myself and my co-host, Josh the J-Man Munt, we want to thank you for listening to our podcast. While you're at it, on whatever platform you're listening on, please hit that subscribe button. And if it happens to be on Apple Podcasts, please give us a rating and review. That really helps us out. If you're interested in watching our show is recorded live every Monday from 6:30 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can catch that on the ISC Sports Network, on the free ISC Sports Network app, on the ISC Sports Network Facebook page, and their Twitter page. While you're at it, on those social media channels, please give us a like on our Facebook page. Please give us a follow on our Twitter and Instagram page at Tan and J-Man Show. And if you want to support our podcast and look great doing so, we have a merchandise store. You can go to any of our social media pages, click the link, click Tan and J-Man Show store, and you'll find whatever you're looking for. Short sleeve t-shirts, long sleeve t-shirts, coffee mugs, you name it, we got it. So thanks again for supporting the podcast. Now sit back, relax, and here comes another exciting brand new episode of the Tan and J-Man Show.
The Tan and J-Man Show is live. We apologize for starting a little late. Had some technical difficulties. You know how that goes. How you doing, Tito?
Still are having technical difficulties. I am on my side. That's why
yeah, you are.
I am coming live to everybody from my cell phone right now. But hopefully I will be joining everybody via my laptop here soon.
I don't want to throw your who's your laptop? Like, what is it?
HP.
I don't want to throw HP under the bus, but gonna have to figure it out there, HP.
Oh, it was up and going earlier. It was ready to rock, and then I got down here tonight and wanted to freeze on me, and I'm literally on Google Chrome right now, and it's a white screen. So
yeah, you might need to upgrade there, T-Dog.
Been a great day for me today. My favorite player, who I got the jersey on for one more time, Von Miller, gets traded, and now my laptop doesn't want to work.
You know what? Credit George Patton for doing that. Or is it Peyton?
Peyton.
Yeah, credit him for doing that. That takes some stones to do it. As I said earlier with our group chat, that was my July 31st of this year, watching all the franchise legends and winning a championship with all getting traded away. So you kind of know how I feel.
Yeah, but I'm like you. I didn't see it coming.
I don't think anyone did. Yeah.
But, I mean, looking back on it, they got a pretty good haul, a second and third round pick, but you definitely wouldn't have got that for him probably later on. So
right. And I saw something else on Twitter. A guy made a good point. It was credit George Payton for getting 2 second-day picks instead of trying to go all in for a 7th seed in the AFC that probably wasn't going to happen anyway. So
right. So
you got some Birdie Bogey for me?
Yeah, I got it, and I'll share it real quick, and then I'm going to hop off as my laptop's up. But I'll go ahead and share the question real quick. Mike White, New York Jets quarterback, yesterday threw for the second most passing yards in a first career NFL start. Who threw for the most passing yards in their first ever NFL career start?
It's a great question. How many did he end up throwing for?
I think he threw for 405 yesterday, I think.
I was going to say, I thought it was over 400, which is insane.
Yes, because he's one of 2 guys that throw for over 400 in their first NFL start.
And I saw Robert Saleh, their head coach, say anything's on the table as far as him being the long-term starter after one start, even though they took a guy second overall in Zach Wilson.
It's the Jets, man. It's the Jets. So,
Birdie Bogey is brought to you by Noble Gnome LLC for fresh, locally grown, nutrient-dense produce from Bryce and Katie Romine of Minton, Indiana. Like them on Facebook, follow them on Instagram, and check out their website, noblegnomellc.com. I'm running solo right now, so heading into baseball. I mean, we have had a really good series there between the Houston Astros and Atlanta Braves. Atlanta got up 3-1. Then they got up 4-0 in the first inning yesterday after Adam Duvall's grand slam. But Houston scratched and clawed their way back in and ended up winning by a decent margin. And, I'm a little nervous now because I'm sure a lot of people outside of Houston do not want the Houston Astros to win. I think I talked about it last week. But the fact that it's going back to Houston, I think Atlanta will rue the day that they could not close it out last night and win it last night, because it's going to be very difficult for them to go in there and win a game. over the next two. The Atlanta Braves, they lost their top starter in Charlie Morton. Took a comebacker off the leg. He broke his fibula, and he would have been starting last night, and the Braves probably end up winning if he starts. But he ended up breaking his leg, and he somehow threw 16 pitches after he broke his leg, which is just insane. I broke that exact same bone in my ankle, the fibula, and let me tell you, I was looking for a wheelchair right afterwards, and he somehow gutted it out for 16 more pitches. But I don't know if you heard me, but I think the Braves will rue the day they didn't win last night and couldn't close that one out.
I agree. I think the Atlanta World Series slipped through their grasp, and I think they're in trouble now.
Yeah, just going back to Houston, it kind of reminds me a little bit of actually the Cubs in 2016, where they got down 3-1, but then they found a way to win Game 5 in Wrigley and extended it, and that kind of gave them some momentum. Now they had to go on the road for that, but I think the road helped them that year, just having the DH there in Cleveland. And it might end up helping the Braves as well, but Houston was on fire last night, and I think they ultimately – actually, this will be the J-Man's book of prediction of the week. Try to get it out of the way early. I think the Houston Astros do end up winning that series. Now, I think they win the next two tomorrow night and Wednesday and win that series. J-Man's book of prediction of the week is brought to you by Indiana Farm Bureau insurance agent Travis Watchering for life, home, auto, renters, business, workers' comp, and farm insurance. Contact Travis at 219-869-4561. His email is travis.watchering@infb.com.
Yeah, I really want to apologize to everybody for this episode so far. I was in StreamYard, wouldn't give me a mic access or camera access. Then my computer came up with an error and says it has to restart. So it is completely restarting again. I have no idea. I've never faced this issue before. So, well,
you know what? It's first time for everything.
Yes, it is.
Which leads me to the fact that you did win the belt, because it is the first time for everything this past week.
I did. Now I got to grab that thing. Got to go find it here. Throw it over the shoulder here.
Yeah. Who were your 3 winners, 3 losers?
For NFL Week 8, my 3 winners and 3 losers. Starting off with a winner in the Thursday night game. How about those Green Bay Packers?
Yep. I have them there as well. Without Devontae Adams, without Alan Lazard. And honestly, they should have lost. What A.J. Green was thinking, not turning around for the ball and ultimately giving up an interception there at the end of the game. Arizona could have easily won, but you know what? Credit the Packers. They lost the first game of the year, and now they're just absolutely rolling.
Yep. And it kind of looks like Aaron Rodgers having fun.
Yeah.
So wouldn't be surprised if he's there in Green Bay for the rest of his career. But like we saw today with Von Miller, and we were seeing so much more with athletes, it's pretty rare to see an athlete start their career and end their career in the same place.
Yeah, it does not happen anymore. I mean, you kind of look, I want to say like Derek Jeter was almost the last one to do that, where he's with the Yankees that his entire career. And I think his career ended in 2014.
Kobe Bryant. NBA.
Kobe Bryant did as well. Yeah, he was probably the last guy. But I mean, really, as I think you've said it many times, LeBron kind of started it. He did the I'm going to South Beach, and now superstars aren't afraid to change teams now.
How about Karl Malone? Played his whole career in Utah until the very end, went to the Lakers.
Very end, yeah.
And
it didn't work, did it? They lost to the Pistons, and so one of my winners, I said I had the Packers as well. My other winner, Tennessee Titans. Derrick Henry gets hurt, and they're probably should be in the loser category now that Derrick Henry's probably out for the entire season.
Yeah, they signed Adrian Peterson.
Did they end up signing him?
Yeah.
Woohoo. I mean, does that really move the needle that much?
No.
But still, they got down 14 and ended up winning in overtime. They could have easily won in regulation. But credit them for fighting back. Colts had all the momentum, but man, without Derrick Henry, that's going to be rough for them. He is their
Titans,
offense.
Without Derrick Henry, the Titans, I think, go from a Super Bowl contender to a borderline playoff team, because nobody relies on a non-quarterback for their offense more than the Tennessee Titans.
Right. No one. Yep. And I mean, I think Ryan Tannehill's a fine quarterback, but you take away an elite. He was on pace to shatter the NFL rushing record this year. You take that off their roster, now it gets increasingly more difficult to throw the ball because they don't have that threat whatsoever.
I mean, they still got Julio, they got AJ Brown, but
they've lost some offensive linemen too. Taylor Lewan's hurt. They lost another one, I believe, yesterday.
He gets hurt all the time.
He's a really good offensive lineman, but he does get hurt.
Mm-hmm. One of my other winners, I put him in this category because it might be the only time I get to say this all year. New York Jets. Like I said, Mike White throws for the second most passing yards of a guy in his first NFL start, and they take down a team we all thought was a contender, and maybe they still are in the Cincinnati Bengals, but the Bengals are going to bangle. They're the number one seed in the AFC, then they go lay an egg.
That was a rough loss, and they're in my loser category of the Bengals. You can't lose to the Jets.
They're in mine too.
And they're facing a backup quarterback as well. That made it even worse. They couldn't get stops. My final winner, the Dallas Cowboys.
Oh, okay.
Going into Minnesota without Dak Prescott. Is it Cooper Rush?
Rush, yeah. Central Michigan's own Cooper Rush.
He played pretty well there in a pretty hostile environment. For them to come out with a win was pretty impressive.
On Sunday Night Football, nonetheless. I mean, here you go, Cooper.
Yeah,
you're going to
good
get
luck.
A decent defense and, like I said, a hostile environment on Sunday Night Football. And I think Cowboys are pretty good.
Yeah, they're one of the top probably 3 or 4 teams in the NFC. NFC's loaded. The AFC is so wide open.
Yep.
Who wants to win it?
Yep.
I don't know if we have a single team that absolutely has gone out and are like, that team's going to win it.
No, not yet.
No. One of your losers.
Well, my other winner is New Orleans Saints. Mm-hmm. I mean, they almost choked it away against the Tampa Bay getting a huge lead, but when you lose your starting quarterback, Jameis Winston, who they confirmed today is a torn ACL for him, Taysom Hill couldn't go, so Team Money Wiggle, Trevor Siemian, good old Siemian comes off the bench and beats Tom Brady. Big win for the Saints. I mean,
huge.
Nobody's talking about the Saints. They're right there tied at the lead for the NFC South and right in the playoff hunt right now. I don't think they're a Super Bowl contender, but just to make the playoffs would be pretty extraordinary for that team. And but got to kind of feel for Jameis. He had his redemption chance and was playing okay, and then that happened. So
especially against his former team too.
That's a good point. So we'll see what happens. And I had an honorable mention winner, even though I had 3. The New England Patriots.
Yeah.
Going into LA and beating the Chargers just when I was about ready to write the Patriots off. Here they are, and not so fast.
Yeah, Mac Jones is going to be pretty good. That's a bad loss at home for the Chargers, though.
Yes, it is, and it's the Raiders had a bye week, and the rest of the AFC is just a cluster right now. The AFC West, right. I mean, is a cluster.
Yeah. One of your losers.
Well, the Bengals were one of mine, but another one's the Atlanta Falcons.
Yep, one of mine.
That team, we were talking about last week, kind of floating under the radar. They're at home against Carolina. Sam Darnold gets hurt, and you can't get the job done against them. You're not a contender if you can't do that.
Yeah, I mean, they came in, I think, right at 500. And, I mean, they lost Calvin Ridley, who's taking some time off to focus on his mental health, which credit to him for doing that. It takes it takes a lot for a guy to do that. But to lose your best receiver, that doesn't help. But, I mean, the Carolina Panthers were absolutely reeling past few weeks. And for them to go in there and Atlanta lose to them was pretty rough.
Yeah, I think you had a bunch of confident points on Atlanta.
I think I had 11 on them, and I had a bunch. I had like 9 or 10 on the Chargers. So those were the 2 that really hurt me this week.
Mm-hmm. Last loser for you.
Cleveland Browns.
Mine too. We have the exact same loser list this week.
Yeah. Losing at home. Coming up, man, they look like the Browns of old.
That was another one that hurt you because I took Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I took the Browns. I think I had the Browns for 4, but that's a bad loss. I mean, Pittsburgh, it's not been good this year. They just haven't been good. And then Cleveland, it's turned into Cleveland of old. I mean, Baker, I know, has been hurt, but he wasn't good yesterday. Jarvis Landry had 3 drops and a lost fumble. They only targeted Odell Beckham Jr. one time, and he had one catch for 6 yards. It's not going well for them there. Now, they were helped by the Bengals losing. I mean, they're still obviously right in it, but, I mean, they're sitting there at 3-4 looking pretty disappointing.
That's what happens when you get expectations around Cleveland.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I'm used to my football team struggling with expectations. Big time this year. So man. I know exactly what they're feeling.
Yep.
All right, Tanner's got the belt. I'm going to win it this week. You can take that one to the bank. You want to go through and give our confidence points for this upcoming week?
Yeah, let's do it. I'm still fingers crossed that we might be back in action here on my laptop, but I thought that a few minutes ago and it didn't happen. But let's go ahead and start knocking out these confident picks.
Starting on Thursday night, the New York Jets travel to the Indianapolis Colts.
Oh, Colts let one slip away yesterday, especially now that you find out that Derrick Henry's out for the year. They're 3 games behind the Titans for the AFC South. Because let's be honest, the Jaguars and the Texans aren't catching anybody.
No.
I still think they're better than the Jets at home. I'm going big. I'm going Colts for 11.
I have the Colts for 12, so I'm right there with you. The Jets are still the Jets. Now, they arguably have 2 of the best wins of any team in the NFL this year, beating 2 division leaders coming in with the Titans and Bengals. But, yeah, Jets are still the Jets.
Yep.
2 miserable teams who might end up making a trade tomorrow. The Houston Texans traveling to Miami to face my horrendous Miami Dolphins.
Yeah, if you had told me before the season, and I'm sure told you that the Dolphins would be 1-7 through 8 weeks. No way.
I had them finish 12. I had them finishing 12-5. I was buying what they were selling, and my heart's been ripped out of my chest.
Michael Scott style.
Yeah.
I think the Dolphins get it done. I got them for 7 confident points.
Dolphins are 7-point favorites. That's how little Vegas thinks of the Houston Texans. I have the Dolphins for 10. If the Dolphins lose this one, they're not winning another game the rest of the year, and they have opportunities. They play the Jets twice, and they play the Giants. But if they lose this one, I don't think Houston wins another game the rest of the year. They got their one out of the way week 1 against Jacksonville, but they are just a miserable bunch. Cleveland at Cincinnati.
The battle for Ohio. The Brownies against the Cincinnati Bengals. Big game for both teams. I'm going to replug my camera, and that's why I'm moving here for everybody currently watching on my phone. This is just a cluster. I'm taking the Bengals for 4.
I am actually taking the Browns, and I have them for 1 point. I still believe in the Bengals a little bit, but I could see yesterday seeing things kind of spiral a little bit, because that's just an inexcusable loss. I know it's on the road, but they blew an 11-point lead. Can't do that.
You were born in Cleveland, and it's showing.
It was. Yep, my Cleveland roots are definitely showing. We have your Denver Broncos traveling to Dallas. Will Dak play? I assume he'll play because he was a game-time decision last night.
I picked it like he's going to play. I don't really think it matters if he plays or not. The Broncos not only lost their, in my opinion, best defensive player in their franchise's history, they lost a huge leader in their locker room. I don't know how the locker room's going to be. I could see more Broncos getting traded before tomorrow's deadline. Give me Dallas for 12.
I have Dallas for 11. I think Dallas is legitimately a really, really good team, as much as I hate to say it. We have the Atlanta Falcons traveling to New Orleans.
Yes.
There you
are. What game we on? I'm sorry.
The Atlanta Falcons at the New Orleans Saints. I saw the Saints said they were not going to pursue Cam Newton, which I don't blame them.
Yeah, and that's a guy I'm surprised that nobody's picked him up yet, to be honest. But Atlanta at New Orleans, I'm guessing Simeon's going to be the quarterback. If not, it'll be Taysom Hill, but I got New Orleans for 6.
I have New Orleans for 6 as well. I don't see Atlanta winning in there. Las Vegas Raiders coming off a bye, traveling to the New York Football Giants.
Yeah, Raiders coming off a bye. They're winning the AFC West right now. I got the Raiders for 8 points.
I have the Raiders for 9. Giants are bad. I think Joe Judge ends up getting fired there.
Sooner than later.
Probably. I mean, you might as well let them play out the season, I guess.
Yeah,
but,
yeah. There's not.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of benefits from firing a coach right now.
No. New England at Carolina.
Yeah, Carolina got a win I didn't see coming yesterday, but so did New England. I got New England for 3.
I have New England for 5. I don't believe in Carolina whatsoever. I believe in Mac Jones. That was a huge win for New England. They're staying in it, though. If they would have lost yesterday, it would have been really difficult to get back into playoff form or playoff graces. But I think Mac Jones has something there.
Yeah, you definitely watch New England more than I do, being that your team's in the AFC East. But every time I've watched New England, yeah, Mac Jones, he's gonna be pretty good.
Yeah. Buffalo at Jacksonville.
Buffalo for 14.
I have Buffalo for 14 as well. Jacksonville's terrible. Buffalo didn't play all that good yesterday, but I think they go in there and just trounce them by. I want to say they win by at least 4 touchdowns.
At least 4 touchdowns.
At least 4 touchdowns.
Don't hear that very often in the NFL game.
Minnesota at Baltimore.
Minnesota at Baltimore. Let's see here. I got the Ravens for 10.
I have Baltimore for 4. Looking back, I probably should have had them for a little higher. But yeah, I mean, I think Baltimore wins fairly handily.
Yeah, I mean, they're the better team.
Mm-hmm. I mean, they'll be able to run all over them, and so I mean, we continue to pick against Minnesota. I don't know if we've picked Minnesota once this year.
It doesn't feel like it. I think Mike Zimmer's in big trouble.
Yeah, I do too. The Los Angeles Chargers of no longer Carson City travel to Philadelphia.
Interesting game here. Kind of tough one to pick. I'm going Chargers for 5, though.
I've picked Detroit to beat Philadelphia last week.
You picked Detroit 2 weeks in a row.
Yeah, I'm never doing it again, I'll tell you that much.
They might not win a game.
The Chargers are helped out that this game's played at 4 o'clock Eastern time. So give me the Chargers for 3.
You definitely put a big weight in that, don't you?
Didn't they lose week 1 to Washington? Or did they win that one? Or did they
I don't remember, but
I don't either.
It's valid. It's a valid point, but you
put
that up a lot. So
it's far more difficult for a West Coast team to play a 1 o'clock Eastern time game on the East Coast than an East Coast team to go out west, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, I agree with you.
Green Bay at Kansas City, who plays tonight.
This could be a heck of a game. I don't know what Kansas City's got to show tonight. You would think they should beat the Giants no matter what. I just think Green Bay's better right now. Give me Green Bay, but for 1 point.
I have Green Bay for 2. I think they're significantly better right now. The Chiefs cannot stop a soul. Their defense is terrible. Patrick Mahomes turning it over more than any quarterback in the NFL so far, it feels like. Mm-hmm. Yeah, give me Green Bay. Arizona traveling to San Francisco.
Yeah, San Francisco's reeling. I don't see it getting better here. I think Arizona bounces back after having their first loss of the season to the Packers. Give me Arizona for 9.
I have Arizona for 8. Don't believe in Jimmy G. Don't believe in that offense in San Francisco. Don't think they'll be able to score enough points against Arizona. Tennessee without Derrick Henry traveling to face the Los Angeles Rams.
Yeah, Rams, like we've been mentioning all show long. Now they got Von Miller to go with Aaron Donald. Aaron Donald in that great defense just makes the defense even better. The Rams are all in. They even admitted on their Twitter they had the guy pushing all the poker chips in the middle saying we're all in because they give up all their draft picks pretty much for the next 5 years, it seems like. And I made this before I saw the Derrick Henry news. I don't like to go back and change my picks. Once I made them, I've made them. I go with my gut. So I got the Rams, but only for 2 points.
You know, I'm the same way. I was thinking about swapping my Rams and Pittsburgh pick for next, but I'm going to keep my Rams pick for 7 because I did the exact same thing I did before the Henry news and before the Von Miller news.
Yep.
The final game here Monday night, Chicago at Pittsburgh.
Yeah. Oh, boy. Chicago, even without Matt Nagy, they couldn't get it done yesterday. Fields played his best game to date. Didn't matter. I got Pittsburgh for 13.
I have Pittsburgh for 13 as well. Fields played his best game of his NFL career so far, and he needed it too because he'd been arguably the worst quarterback in the NFL since he's become a starter. That offensive line is atrocious against one of the best pass rushes in the NFL. It's going to be a long, long night for the Chicago Bears.
Sure is.
The belt's coming home this week there, Tan.
No, it's not. You made the mistake letting it come back to me for the first time in a good amount of weeks, and it's not going to Illinois anytime soon.
Oh, it'll be here. Trust me. It seems like we had a lot of the same picks, so it'll be interesting to see how it all shakes out.
Yeah, bye weeks are Detroit, Seattle, Tampa Bay, and Washington for those of you who have fantasy players on any of those teams. And why we are at a little break here, I want to mention that the Tan and J-Man Show is brought to you by Circle 15 Golf. If I can get this banner up, there we go. Circle 15 Golf is a brand focused on bringing tour quality products and experience to the everyday golfer like the J-Man and myself. It's built on 25 years of tour experience, featuring the Genesis glove, the most durable and comfortable glove available, and the patented Glove Hub, the first and only glove humidor on the market. Find those products and more, diver repair tools, ball markers, hats, etc. at circle15golf.com.
This episode's also brought to you by The Damn Landing. Whether you want an epic burger, hand-tossed pizza, hand-bread tenderloin, seafood, craft beer, or a handcrafted cocktail, The Damn Landing is the place to be. Damn Landing is a bar and grill located on beautiful Lake Manitou, focuses on freshness and quality. You can wash down their delicious food with one of their 16 beers on tap, including a constant rotation of today's best microbrews and domestic flavors, or a handcrafted cocktail made using fresh ingredients. Take in the fantastic views of Lake Manitou and their beer garden or outdoor bar area. Whether it be boats or wheels, the Damn Landing is the place to be, located at 1305 Ewing Road in Rochester.
They had some good-looking barbecue again over the weekend.
I'm going to have to see if they DoorDash all the way out here. See if they'll DoorDash 2 hours and 15 minutes away. You want to talk some Big Ten football?
I would love to talk some Big Ten football.
I'm sure you would. Go at it.
Go at it. Well, I guess we'll start off. My Boilermakers, big win for them. Improving to 5-3. Their best record through 8 games since 2007. Keep going back to 2007 a lot of times for a lot of these accomplishments. But 1 game away from bowl eligibility with 4 left. Tough task at hand coming up this week with the number 5 8-0 Michigan State Spartans, which we'll talk about here in a little bit, coming to Rochester. And then next week they go to the Horseshoe for the first time since 2012, I believe, to face Ohio State. But then they get Northwestern at Wrigley and Indiana at home. I think they got a pretty good chance in those 2 games to get a win.
It was huge to win in Nebraska.
It was.
For bowl aspiration. And, of course, in Iowa as well.
Yeah, they've won 3 road games this year. I mean, UConn, you got to count it, I guess, is on the road. I don't remember the last time Purdue's won 3 road games. It feels like it's been a while. Yeah, Aiden O'Connell's a different quarterback on the road. His stats are way better on the road than they are at home.
That's weird.
This 2 games in a row, Purdue's got the best of Nebraska at Nebraska. And even though Nebraska is a bad program right now, it's still fun to beat a team in front of 90,000.
Sure.
And Scott Frost, I thought going into Saturday, as long as he got a win, he probably survives this year. I don't know now.
They have at Ohio State this week, or they host Ohio State this week, sorry. They have at Wisconsin, and then they host Iowa. They're not winning any of those games. Real good shot they lose out and finish 3-9. And I don't think there's any way you can actually believe that Scott Frost is the guy to lead the program.
Yeah, it just hasn't worked out for him. I mean, you go 3-9, you end up firing him. One thing you got to take in consideration for the AD, though, other jobs open right now. LSU's open. Mm-hmm. USC's open. TCU, Nebraska's a better job than TCU, but TCU's open. I mean, what other jobs are going to become open? Right. I mean, LSU's a better job than Nebraska. USC's a better job than Nebraska. So, I don't know.
Yeah, it's definitely something to take into consideration. But I mean, knowing the Nebraska fan base, they think they're better than everyone else, and so does their athletic department. So, LSU, who cares? USC, who cares? We'll be able to get a better coach than them. Well, it happened real well last time when you hired Scott Frost.
They went and got one of their own, and it just hasn't worked out for them at all.
That is why you don't hire a legend.
Yeah, it's one of your legends when you need to.
That's why you don't do it. I was so glad when the Cubs didn't hire Ryan Sandberg. Very glad when the Dolphins didn't hire Dan Marino to be one of their top front office guys.
I forgot about that.
It is so difficult to fire a legend, and then you just burn a bridge there. And it's rough for him to even come back.
And another thing about Nebraska. If I'm a Nebraska fan, I don't want Adrian Martinez back next year.
He's terrible. Awful.
I loved it. They kept saying it's redemption. He's not done writing his chapters in his book in Nebraska. Every time an announcer said that, he'd make a boneheaded play. I mean, he ended up throwing 4 interceptions.
He is the sole reason why Nebraska did not win that game. They were up. Right. Were they up? They were up 7-0, and they were driving, and he throws a pick 6.
Yep.
I think they were up 14-7 as well, and he threw an interception.
Well, right before half, he missed on a deep ball. Now, I don't know. The receiver maybe slowed up. If he would have hit that, they would have been up 10 at half instead of 3. I think it's a whole different ball game then. Sure. But Purdue put it to him in the second half.
Yeah, he's a guy who was so much better as a freshman than he is now. You see it every once in a while, but this is to an extreme. He's a guy who you honestly shouldn't even consider starting at this point. Their season's lost now. They have to win out in order to make a bowl, and it's not going to happen. But I mean, he's junior. They'll expect him back next year, and
he'd be senior.
I was looking, and he's a junior with the COVID.
With the COVID, yeah, stuff. Everybody, yeah.
So he can come back now. Will he? I mean, it'd be smart for him to go get a fresh start somewhere, see if he can win somewhere else or play better somewhere else. But
the announcer sure made it sound like he's going to come back, even though he hasn't made a final decision. So we'll see.
And yeah, but I mean, I don't know if I'd start him unless you get maybe a better system around him, because Scott Frost's system's not working for him.
Scott Frost wanted him over Burrow. Just remember, never forget.
Yeah, that's hilarious.
The other news around Big Ten, of course, you had Michigan State battling for the Paul Bunyan Trophy. Might have been the best game of the year.
I was just about to say that was the best game I've watched this year.
It's intense.
Back and forth. Michigan State. I mean, Kenneth Walker has 5 touchdowns, and that has cemented himself in the Heisman race as a guy
that might be the front runner right now.
He should be the front runner. I mean, he had a couple ridiculous runs to score. And then a ridiculous one-handed interception to end it. That was the most entertaining college football game I've watched all season.
Yeah, I mean, Michigan State's definitely for real. I don't think we can ignore them anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Now, are they on Alabama or Georgia level? No.
Yeah.
That's what a lot of people are going to bring up. Michigan State is the only team in the modern college football playoff era to make the playoff besides Ohio State. When they did, they absolutely got embarrassed by Alabama. And I know the Big Ten doesn't want that to happen again, but of course the Big Ten wants a team in the playoff. Yeah. Michigan State and Ohio State still have to play each other. That'll be a big one. And Michigan State's got to play Penn State, which I'm not a huge believer in Penn State, but they did give Ohio State quite a fight the other night.
They hung with them.
I mean, Ohio State did beat the Nittany Lions. Other things around the conference, Rutgers beat Illinois in a coin toss game. Maryland beat Indiana. If Indiana doesn't win out, they don't make a bowl. I mean, I know they have had a brutal schedule, a lot of injuries, but that is a huge letdown of a season for a team that's heavily upperclassmen with seniors and juniors.
I would say they're by far the most disappointing school in the Big Ten.
Yeah.
They came into the year ranked 18th or so, 16th, something like that.
Yeah, top 20. Yeah.
And they're going to lose 9 games. That's rough.
Yeah.
And I know they've had injuries, and really Penix's injury last year has really affected them this year, but their offense still it's not good.
And another team that's been injured in the Big Ten, they're down to their 4th string running back now is Minnesota. Yeah. They keep cranking out the wins, and they're in the driver's seat in the West right now.
Yeah. It's insane. I mean, they control their own destiny. I mean, I think you shared something today. PJ Flex said he's asking anyone on the roster if they've ever ran the ball once. You might end up running for us this year.
Yep. And then another West matchup, Wisconsin beat Iowa. Iowa's offense, last 2 games out, 14 points total.
Man, Wisconsin's going to end up in that Big Ten championship
every year. This happens.
All that talk about them being done, and
the defense is so good.
Yeah, I mean, 2 really good wins here the past couple weeks.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, you want to go through and pick some games?
Let's do it.
Starting with Illinois at Minnesota.
Yeah, I took the Illini against Rutgers.
They
let me down, so I'm not taking them this week. I'm taking Minnesota for 4.
I have Minnesota for 2. I think it'll be a blowout, but looking at the other games, I think that is – I mean, it was one of my lower point ones because I think I don't think Illinois has a shot. But, Minnesota for 2. Ohio State at Nebraska.
Shocked this is the Fox Big Noon game. I actually thought they might put Purdue Michigan State as the Fox big noon game this week. They changed it up a little bit, but they put that as 3:30 ABC instead. I have Ohio State for 6.
I have Ohio State for 6 as well. Everyone talks about how tough it is to play in Nebraska, but you look, Purdue went in there, beat them pretty handily. Illinois went in there I think 2 of the past 3 years and trounced them. So it's not that difficult anymore.
Ohio State's,
and they're a different level.
So good, yeah.
Michigan State at Purdue.
Oh man, Michigan State's a 3-point favorite. I want to pull the trigger on Purdue so bad. They beat Iowa when Iowa was ranked number 2. If they somehow would knock off Michigan State, it'd be the first time they beat 2 top 5 programs in the same year since 1960. What the heck, Purdue for a point?
There you go.
Why not?
Gotta do it. We don't keep track of these anyway.
They got nothing to lose. Nothing to lose.
Michigan State has everything to lose.
Yep.
With that said, I have Michigan State for 5.
Sure.
I think Purdue's defense is very, very good, but Kenneth Walker's a different animal. Peyton Thorne's a fantastic quarterback as well. It's going to be difficult, but I wouldn't put it past Purdue to win this one at all. I think a 3-point spread's pretty accurate.
Yeah, Ross State should be jumping for that one.
Yeah. Penn State at Maryland.
Yeah, this could be a sneaky matchup here. It wouldn't shock me for Maryland to get the win and get bowl eligible, but I have Penn State, but only for 2 points.
I have Penn State for 1. Yeah, I think Penn State wins, but it'll be a real close one. And Maryland needs it. Maryland has had some games at home this year against good programs that they've been blown out in. They got turned it over 7 times against Iowa. They got blown out by, I think, Ohio State. Yep. I think Maryland can hang with Penn State, but Penn State ultimately wins.
Tua's little brother played really well Saturday against Indiana.
Yeah, he needed it because he'd been pretty abysmal the past couple weeks. Wisconsin at Rutgers.
Yeah, Wisconsin for 3. I think Rutgers will hang in there, but Wisconsin defense will be too much.
I have Wisconsin for 4. I don't think Rutgers will be able to move the ball whatsoever against them. Iowa at Northwestern, first 1 to 4 wins.
Iowa for 7. I think Northwestern's the worst team in the conference.
I have Iowa for 3. I think Northwestern can get them, though. I think Northwestern's terrible.
Yeah.
But I really think Northwestern can get them with how terrible Petrus is for Iowa. But,
maybe they make a QB switch.
They should. They honestly should. Petrus has been so bad, and Northwestern's terrible football team, but I think they can hang.
Yeah, they beat Rutgers 2 weeks ago. So
yeah. Indiana at Michigan.
Michigan's going to be ticked off. Indiana's fighting for their bowl lives here. They haven't won at Michigan. God knows when. I'm really not sure off the top of my head. They beat Michigan last year for the first time in years. This is a 7:30 at night Fox game. I got Michigan for 5.
I have Michigan for 7. I think that's my highest confident. As you said, they're going to be real ticked off. They're going to win or want to win so bad, and they want to destroy their opponent. And luckily for IU, they get to be the recipient of that blowout.
Yeah, these channels keep pushing IU at primetime national night games.
Yeah.
ABC at home against Ohio State.
Yeah,
Michigan kind of feel bad for him in a way. It's like, geez, they keep getting drummed. The whole nation could be like, why are they putting Indiana on TV? But it's kind of like game day's going to Cincinnati this week, and they're playing 3-5 Tulsa.
I love it, though.
But the first ever time they've been to Cincinnati. So.
Yeah, Cincinnati deserves their due. Yeah. They're ranked 2nd.
Yep.
Will they beat a Georgia or Alabama? Absolutely not. But they need to be recognized.
Yeah. Who do you think's the 4 tomorrow? Come tomorrow when they release the playoff rankings.
Georgia, Cincinnati, Alabama, probably Oklahoma.
Ohio or Michigan State, and who else on the outside? Who's in that 6th spot? Is it Michigan?
Who else is undefeated? Is there anyone else undefeated? Wake Forest.
Yeah, they're ranked 10th.
And you know what? They're underdogs on the road at North Carolina this week.
Yeah, there's no way they're going to bump Notre Dame clear up there, right? Or Ohio State?
They better not. Ohio State would be ahead of them. Oregon should be ahead of Notre Dame. Michigan should be ahead of Notre Dame.
Yeah.
SMU should be ahead of Notre Dame. Just kidding.
Real quick before we do the top 25 picks, I know we also have word association in on this day, so I'm going to make this really quick. This is my power rankings for the Big Ten this week. I got Northwestern at 14, Indiana at 13, Illinois at 12, Nebraska at 11, Rutgers at 10, Maryland at 9, Purdue at 8, Penn State at 7, Minnesota at 6, Iowa at 5, Wisconsin at 4, Michigan at 3, Ohio State at 2, and the Spartans, your new number 1 in Tanner's Big Ten power rankings.
Did a pretty good job with those there, Tanner, man.
Yep.
Number 10, Wake Forest at North Carolina.
Give me the Tar Heels an upset.
Give me Wake Forest. It wouldn't be an upset. North Carolina's favorite.
Oh, that's surprising.
2.5. Give me Wake Forest on the road.
Yeah, they put up points.
This is an interesting one. Liberty at Ole Miss.
Oh, good old Hugh Freeze.
Hugh Freeze coming back.
Malik Willis, I believe is his name.
Yeah.
Quarterback for Liberty is pretty good. Ole Miss, bad loss against Auburn. Ole Miss bounces back.
I agree. Auburn at Texas A&M.
Yeah, this could have been game day, I guess. Auburn has just proven that Malzahn is not a good coach, in my opinion. That's what they're doing this year. Bo Nix has proved he can win on the road and neutral. Give me Auburn at Texas A&M.
Final one here. We have number 6. I agree. Give me Auburn. Number 16, UTSA at 8-0 travels to 6-2. UTEP. UTEP is 6-2.
That's huge. They're usually
garbage
by now. UTSA, number 16. I love their nickname, so give me the Roadrunners.
I agree. I think they keep rolling. Word association here, real quickly. These are the past 15 World Series MVPs.
Let's do it.
Corey Seager.
Total package. I don't know. I had nothing. He's a talented player all over the field.
He's a free agent too. Steve Strasburg.
Injured all the time. I mean, he is just awesome when he's healthy, but he's never healthy.
Steve Pearce.
Who?
You remember him for the Red Sox?
So I said who?
He had that unbelievable World Series against the Dodgers in 2018.
Nope, no idea.
George Springer.
George Springer. It sounds like Jerry Springer. That's the first thing I think of when I hear George Springer. But good player. But yeah, Jerry Springer.
Ben Zobrist.
Cub legend in his own way. And he was a huge part of that world. Of course, he's the World Series MVP. Huge part of that season.
Salvador Perez.
Cool name. Salvador Perez. I mean, all these guys are pretty good players, so I don't want to get repetitive of what I'm saying here.
Madison Bumgarner.
Beer chugger.
Yeah, that dude uses an alias name and is involved in the rodeo in North Carolina in the offseason.
That dude can pound Budweisers.
Big Papi, David Ortiz.
Legend. I mean, as a Yankee fan, I want to hate him. How can you hate Big Papi? What a good guy.
Does he get in the Hall of Fame even though he's a steroid guy?
Oh, man, that's a good
accused,
one.
I should say.
Somebody's eventually going to get in there that's been accused, and he might be the first one.
The media loves Big Papi as well.
They do.
I wouldn't be surprised if he gets in. Kung Fu Panda, Pablo Sandoval.
Oh, man. Giant like 5 times over.
Yeah.
He's fun to watch. Fun to watch him. Remind me of a newer Mo Vaughn.
Yeah, he was a bigger boy. He had a 3-homer game in, I think, game 1 of the World Series that year against the Tigers. I'm off of Justin Verlander, I want to say. David Freese.
Man, that's a guy I forgot about. Was he Cardinal?
Yeah, he was that one that hit that game-tying triple with 2 outs in the 9th against the Rangers.
This is impressive that you're remembering this stuff, man.
Yeah, in Game 6, the Cardinals should not have won that World Series.
The Cardinals and Red Sox years, I get lost, probably because I don't like either of them. So, but forgettable. That's what David Freese is because I forgot about him.
Edgar Renteria.
He's not forgettable. Man, I think of him on the Marlins though, and the Cardinals. But long overdue for him to have some World Series success when he eventually did.
Hideki Matsui.
Godzilla. Oh, yeah. Godzilla. Interesting career Hideki got. Pretty underrated Yankee, really.
Yeah. Cole Hamels.
Man, those Philly teams were good. Cole Hamels, Chase Utley, Jim Lee Rollins. He was just consistent for so many years.
Yeah, those pitching staffs were ridiculous. Mike Lowell.
Another former Marlin that had success with the Marlins, then the Red Sox. Just a savvy old vet. He had gray beard when he's like 28.
Ending with the Cardinal here, we have David Eckstein.
I just remind me of one of those non-power hitters.
Yeah,
that was just good.
Do you remember his nickname?
I do not.
His nickname was Just Enough because he had literally just enough arm strength to throw guys out from shortstop.
He reminded me they don't even play the same position, but Scotty Pods a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit.
I don't know why.
Yeah, they were kind of contemporaries.
Built the same.
Yeah, real small. Eckstein was only like 5'6", I think.
Just a little fella.
He's just a little fella.
And the Word Associate segment is brought to you by Rhett Lee, Attorney at Law. Rhett Lee and the Law Office of Andrew Akey, LLC, are located at 206 4th Street in Logansport, Indiana. Rhett provides legal services to the people of North Central Indiana and practices criminal defense, family law, and personal injury. If you need a lawyer who cares about your results and will fight for you, call Rhett today to schedule a free consultation at 574-722-2221. And the On This Day segment. Let me bring up the banner there. On this day, on November 1st, I haven't looked up at these at all. On this day, 1913, Notre Dame upset Army 35-13 in the college's inaugural football game.
Ooh, that's a good
one. Receiver Newt Rockney caught the forward pass effectively, it says, as Gus Dorace was 14 of 17 for 243 yards and 2 touchdowns. That's a lot back in 1913.
Yeah.
It's airing it out. Let's see what else we got here. A lot of cricket. On this day, 1950, Celtics forward Chuck Cooper became the first African-American to play in the NBA in Boston's 107-84 loss at Fort Wayne Pistons.
Oh, that's pretty cool. Future
Hall of Famer Bob Cousy also debuted for the Celtics that night.
Huh? That's pretty neat. That's a good one.
Yes. On this day, 1959, future Pro Football Hall of Fame running back and arguably the best running back of all time, Jim Brown, ran for 5 touchdowns in Cleveland's 38-31 win over the Baltimore Colts. On this day, 1964, Kansas City Chief quarterback Lynn Dawson passed for 435 yards and 6 touchdowns in the Chiefs' 49-39 win over the Denver Broncos.
Former Boilermaker.
That's why I shared it, even though it was against the Broncos. Let's see here. I'm trying to fly through this. Mike Tyson in the news for something bad. Imagine that. On this day, 1994, Chicago Bulls retire basketball superstar Michael Jordan's jersey, number 23, in a 2-hour ceremony at the United Center.
He was back.
On this day, 1996, Shaquille O'Neal made his Hollywood debut as the Lakers beat the Suns 96-82 at the Forum. Shaq had 23 points and pulled down 14 boards in 35 minutes.
He was a pretty good center there in the late 90s, early 2000s.
Wasn't too bad. And like he told his kids in the news this past week, I'm rich, you're not.
I'm rich, you're not.
He wants to see them do some stuff. On this day in 2007, Joe Torre, the winningest manager in MLB postseason history, moves from one storied franchise New York Yankees to another in the LA Dodgers, agreeing to a 3-year, $13 million contract.
I remember that.
I totally forgot he was the Dodgers manager. On this day in 2015, Kansas City Royals won their first World Series since 1985, rallying in the 9th and breaking away in the 12th to beat the New York Mets 7-2 in Game 5 in New York City. Salvador Perez was the MVP, like you mentioned.
Yep.
The Astros won their first ever title on this day in 2017.
Yuck.
Yuck is right. And that's going to do it for the On This Day segment, which is brought to you by Proforma Print House. If you're looking for a trustworthy, dependable resource for your next trade show, company picnic, or sales meeting, Proforma Print House is over 50 years combined experience of promotional products and commercial print. They strive for fast and efficient response to all your print needs. You need to look no further. Let them be your one-source print and promotional company to get it today by giving them a call at 574-210-3815.
Yes, sir.
Birdie Bogey question, J-Man. I hope you're ready.
I'm ready.
All right. Mike White of the New York Jets passed for 405 yards yesterday, which is the second most passing yards by a QB in their first NFL start. This is since 1950. Who threw for the most?
Two fellas popped into my head. I think both are wrong, but I'm going to go with Jameis Winston.
You are wrong. You are taking a bogey this week. Who was your other guess?
RG3.
Would have been wrong again.
Good.
Cam Newton.
Oh,
422 yards.
same era, I guess.
Third
Not
was
bad.
Kevin Kolb in 2009 with
Really?
391. Fourth was Vinny Testaverde in 1987, 369.
Vinny's always on the list somewhere.
Vinny was solid, man. He was solid.
He was old.
Kevin Kolb. Anybody who would get a
Man.
Kevin Kolb jersey was just something else.
Was he out of Houston?
Yep.
I know who
remember-
you're talking about. I know exactly who you're talking
You
about.
remember when he got the concussion, Clay Matthews literally pinned his arms back. And he had nowhere to go. He
I
just
do
went
remember that.
face first into the ground. Oh,
I do
man.
remember that.
Wrap us up there, J-Man, for episode 259.
For watching the Tan and J-Man show and bearing with us through technical difficulties.
My fault.
It's not Tanner's fault. It's the computer's fault. We'll be back at it next Monday with another episode of the Tan and J-Man show live on the ISC Sports Network. Have a great week, everybody, and we'll see you next week.